Welcome back to the Bumper Breakfast. Please, for those who are sending us those selfie pictures, make sure there is light. Put on the light or put on a torch or something. Just make sure your face shows, because when you're sending me a picture and I can only see myself and the silhouette of a man or a woman, people will know it's you. Try to do a picture that is quite clear, okay? All right, I have Susan Kelechi Woma with me in the studio this morning. She's a disability advocate and she's a personal friend. And it's always a pleasure having the beautiful Susan on the Bumper Breakfast. Hi, Susan. Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you.
All right, so Susan is here, and it's 16 days of activism across the world. Now, the United Nations has been clamoring that we end all forms of violence against women and girls for a while, but now we're eliminating it, and usually every year we'll talk about the 16 days of activism. Yesterday, I attended a debate of the King's Club, Boys Club in the secondary school, where they were talking about how the boys need to be aware about sexual violence and how gender violence, and how they contribute to it. We're focusing particularly on people with disabilities. And my first question to Kelechi today is, Kelechi, what has been the fate of people with disabilities when they are sexually assaulted or abused, or, let's even remove sexual, when they experience any form of violence? First, what has been the experience?
Thank you very much, Thomasina. I'd like to start this way. The World Health Organization says 15% of the world lives with one form of disability or the other. 19.2% of this are females. Now, let's bring it down home. And of course, we know that 80% of persons with disabilities live in developing countries. Nigeria is one of the developing countries.
Yes.
And presently we have about 31 million persons with disabilities
in Nigeria. According
to statistics, yes. And in Lagos, we have about 2 million persons with disability here. Now, disability, as it were, is just the umbrella name for different forms of impairments. It might be visual, the person might be blind, deaf, somebody with albinism, a dwarf, somebody with a spinal cord injury. At least we have like 8 defined ones. We also have the deaf blind, those who are also deaf and blind. And we have different people with different forms of disabilities. Now, the major challenge we would have would be lack of disability disaggregated data. When you would make interventions based on violence, it's a broad one if we have to speak on it, but I'd like to narrow it down to the socioeconomic, psychological, and emotional needs when a person goes through violence. Now, for persons with disability, already we understand that persons with disability, 1 in 3 persons with disability would undergo any form of violence.
Wow.
Bring it
1 in
down.
3.
1 in 3. Okay. Now, we move it further for women with disabilities. 1 in 10 women with disabilities would experience sexual violence before they turn 18.
Hold on. So 1 in 3 will experience one form of violence?
Generally, for persons with disability.
Yes.
For women with disability, we have 10 times. We are 10 times more vulnerable. So 1 in 10 persons with disability, women with disability,
yes,
has undergone one form of violence
or the other
before they got to 18. So even me, I must have gone through that before I got. But then the thing is this.
You see where I'm taking
I know that look. Don't look at me that way. But you see, these are some of the challenges we go through. We live in a society where there's so much discrimination. We have so much stigmatization for persons with disability, and that makes them stay in isolation. And that's what this project is all about. We're trying to amplify our voices using this 16 days of activism. Of course, Friday was International Day for Persons with Disability. So we are raising awareness and saying, no, we are human beings, our lives matter. The rights of women are also the rights of women with disabilities. And so we shouldn't be shut down. And it will interest you to know that some of these things happen within the family circle. It's either intimate partner, caregivers, yes, caregivers, even abuse persons with disability. So by the time you go through this, emotionally you are drained. Psychologically you become withdrawn as a person with disability. Do not forget that this person depends
on that particular person
for maybe movement. Some people are not like me who can manage and get to your studio this month. Some people need somebody to help them maybe have their bath and do everything. And so you start to imagine their socio-economic welfare. What happens? How are they coping? How are they able to stay independent, to be able to thrive even without help?
Who should provide this ability to be independent? The parents, the society, the government?
The society, the government. The disability is not the problem. The problem is the disabled environment. Disabled environment. The environment is what makes us feel as if we have a problem. The disability is not, even in developed countries, we have persons with disability everywhere. So it's not even a problem for us, as it were. It's the environment. When you say we have disability disaggregated data, it tells me that you understand that I exist. It tells me, oh,
I'm conscious about you. I know you exist.
They are being intentional that, oh, these people are here. And so when you do that, the person will be able to say, okay, this happened to me. It will interest you to even know, Tomisi, that some of the violence we experience, it is even family members that say, close your mouth.
Don't say it out.
Don't say it out. You want to spoil our family name. They are bothered about the family name
more than your welfare.
My welfare as a woman with disability, as a young girl with disability. They are not looking at the trauma I'll be going through. And I'll be walking, but I'm a broken woman. I'm a broken young lady because nobody allows me to speak my truth. How does that person gain closure? And you know, part of the stigmatization that we face is when somebody sees a person with, you are not even happy that they even spoke to you. How should I be happy? Am I not enough for my own? I'm a woman, so I deserve somebody to talk to me. But it doesn't mean that that person should do something without my consent. No, that is wrong. You understand? And so I am able to come here to discuss this with you. We are looking at young girls in the rural areas, far to rich areas where they cannot even tell you what they go through. Because there's that one brother that comes in. We're looking at socio-economical constraints that we face, and that's a big violence for women in particular because, okay, the National Disability Act says 5% of all employment should be persons with disability. The one for Lagos State Special Purpose Law, which is 10 years plus now, says 1% of all employment should be persons with disability. Where can I check, maybe online, and have this data handy to be able to say, oh, yes, it has not gotten to me, but it has gotten to X, Y, Z.
And these people already have jobs.
And so with time, it will get to me. These are some of the things that we need to put out there. And so it's important that we understand the triple jeopardy. I keep saying it. Women with disabilities face triple jeopardy. First, we are women. Two, of course, or when we are women, you know we live in a patriarchal society. We are women. We have a disability. And then our socioeconomic status puts us
at a disadvantage.
At a disadvantage. That's the triple jeopardy that women with disabilities face. And that's why we keep saying nothing for us without us. Women with disabilities, our lives matter, our lives count, and we need to be at places where these conversations are happening.
Don't have a conversation. Nothing for me without me.
Absolutely.
Don't say we're planning for them.
No.
And then I am not on the table. How do you plan for me?
You don't even know my needs. Various disabilities has its peculiarities.
Peculiar needs.
And though the peculiarities will now make for the proper interventions. Imagine you have somebody who is deaf watching me and there's no captioning on this screen. that person is disenfranchised.
The person doesn't know what we're talking
The
about.
person just knows, oh, I know Susan. But what I am saying, which also affects her,
She will not know what
she
we're
would
talking
not know.
about.
So these are some of the things we are talking about. Every intervention for persons with disability must
involve
have
them.
persons with disability in every sphere of governance.
You know, this conversation was supposed to start last week. Susan was too busy. She was too busy. We need to have this conversation again and again throughout
Definitely.
the period of the 16 days of activism, so that we can get enough attention. Let them know we are talking.
Yes.
Let them know women are talking, and women are speaking up for women, whether with disability or without disability. Thank you so much, Susan, once again, for always being here. 60 seconds of fame. So many people send their pictures in. Don't forget, you're watching us on the Bumper Breakfast. You take a selfie of yourself with your TV set, and you send, and you get to get something, some gift, one gift for Christmas from the Bumper Breakfast. So I'm still waiting for your pictures. The ones that are there, my director will put it on as I sign out this morning. I tell you, thank you so much for joining us on the Bumper Breakfast. We always love to have you, and we will be back tomorrow. Trust me, we will be back, and we will be back with a bigger package. Susan, you're coming next week, right?
Yes,
You promise.
I promise.
You promise on national television now.
Yes.
Before you send me a text, I say, I don't think
No.
I will be able to make.
No.
I will come
By
and
God's grace. By God's grace.
by God's grace, you're coming.
I'll be here.
Bye, people. We'll see you again tomorrow, bright and early on the Bumper Breakfast. Have a beautiful day. I love you, and you know it.